JBMDL Hunting and Fishing Safety Brief.
iSportsman. Complete transition to the use of iSportsman, jbmdl.isportsman.net. All check-in and check-out for all activities in all areas is completed exclusively through iSportsman. All hunting and fishing permits are sold exclusively through iSportsman. Hunting and fishing permits do not grant base access. All safety briefs will be completed on iSportsman, as well as all harvest data input. An iSportsman account must be created for each user, no exceptions. Duplicate accounts are prohibited. All accounts must be validated by JBMDL personnel prior to any outdoor activities. All information entered into iSportsman must be complete, accurate, and factual. All information changes must be updated within 30 days. All information for vehicles to be used for the purpose of outdoor activities must be entered into iSportsman as well. Multiple vehicles are permitted on the same account. This safety brief cannot completely cover all information for JBMDL. You are required to follow all regulations listed in JBMDLI 32-7064. This instruction can be found on the website jbmdl.isportsman.net under Regulations tab. General information. Available JBMDL permits and endorsements are as follows: JBMDL Hunting Permit, JBMDL Fishing Permit, JBMDL Trapping Permit under approval of the Natural Resources Department, LA Pheasant Permit, and RA Pheasant Permit. Permit fees are established by the Natural Resources Office. An additional fee will be charged to hunt pheasants on LA. More information can be found at jbmdl.isportsman.net. All sales are final and there are no refunds. General rules and safety. Persons engaged in hunting or fishing on JBMDL must wear all New Jersey and federal licenses, permits, and stamps required by those agencies in addition to required base permits. All individuals and their property are subject to being checked or searched at any time by authorized federal, state, and military law enforcement personnel. Persons must provide identification, licenses, and permits as requested. Disturbance or interference with individuals engaged in official business or an authorized activity on JBMDL is prohibited. Disturbance of the peace or other disorderly conduct is also prohibited. Spotlighting on RA and CA, magnet fishing, swimming, trespassing, and vandalism is prohibited. For a list of all unauthorized activities, please refer to JBMDLI 32-7064 on the website. Hunting and hunter safety. For the purpose of this safety brief, hunting is defined as to pursue, take, possess, or cause to be transported by any other person any wild bird or mammal. All persons born on or after September 1st, 1969, who are 16 years or older, must be carrying proof of completing the State Hunter Safety Course approved by NJDFW while hunting or sponsoring hunters on JBMDL. Hunting on JBMDL must be in accordance with federal and state hunting laws and the additional controls and restrictions prescribed in JBMDLI 32-7064. Persons under the age of 16 may not be in possession of a firearm unless under the direct and immediate supervision of an adult 18 years and older. All hunters will wear a daylight fluorescent orange cap and an outer garment consisting of no less than 200 square inches of fluorescent orange material, which must be visible from all sides when hunting upland game of deer with a firearm or on the ground during firearm season. Hats and vests must be free of all writing and designs. The possession of a loaded firearm or crossbow in a vehicle or on a roadway is prohibited. Firearms and crossbows will not be discharged from any vehicle. Disabled hunters must have appropriate state permits and follow all regulations. Firearms, crossbows, and bows will not be discharged from, along, or across any improved road open to vehicle access. Season dates are designated by JBMDL and will be published annually prior to hunting season. The use of non-edible scents is approved given they meet the state guidelines. Firearms and ammunition. The possession and use of firearms on the CA is prohibited. Only shotguns and muzzle-loading rifles will be used for deer hunting. The use of rifles or pistols for hunting is prohibited. The exception is muzzle-loading rifles larger than .44 caliber. A .22 caliber rifle using short-rim fire cartridges may only be used when trapping in the RA or LA to dispatch animals in traps. No person may, for the purpose of hunting, carry a loaded firearm within 450 feet of a school building, playground, or occupied dwelling. Shotguns and archery equipment only will be used for turkey hunts. Possession of firearms and archery equipment on JBMDL is prohibited except for safe storage in accordance with JBMDL security regulations, archery equipment in locked vehicles stored out of sight, legal hunting and movement to and from the open hunting areas, archery practice on established recreational archery ranges, and to trap and skeet shooting at the JBMDL trap and skeet range. Hunting check station requirements. All applicable state and federal licenses, permits, and stamps are required in conjunction with a JBMDL hunting permit, except that no pheasant stamp is required on the LA area. Harvested animals will be checked via electronic reporting through the NJDFW at www.njfishandwildlife.com and recorded on jbmdl.isportsman.net. All check-in and check-out for all activities, including hunting, fishing, trapping, scouting, and baiting, will be done for all areas at jbmdl.isportsman.net. Boating. Boating is permitted according to watercraft requirements established by the New Jersey State Police and the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission. Watercraft acceptable for use on JBMDL waterways include canoes, bass boats, rowboats, kayaks, and sailboats. Only electronic motors may be used. If your boat has a gas engine, it is mandatory that the engine and gas can be removed. No inflatables of any kind are permissible, and it is prohibited to swim in JBMDL waters. Trapping. Trapping is permitted on JBMDL with a special permit memorandum issued by the Natural Resources Manager. Trappers must obtain a JBMDL trapping permit. The trapping permit fee will be waived for trappers who are requested to trap problem species on JBMDL using New Jersey site-specific permits. General hunting provisions. All federal, New Jersey, and JBMDL regulations apply. When more than one of these statutes addresses a common matter or issue, the more restrictive statute applies. Failure to comply with these regulations will result in appropriate action and may result in a loss of JBMDL hunting privileges and/or barring from the base. All persons are required to use non-toxic shot when waterfowl hunting. Lead shot is prohibited. All recreationalists are required to report their daily harvest of game animals taken when they check out via iSportsman. Impact area, military ranges, magazines, ammunition supply points, taxiways, JBMDL buildings, and test track areas are off limits to hunting, fishing, and trapping. Trespassing into these areas is extremely dangerous. Open fires are strictly prohibited. Anyone who discovers a fire in a hunting area will report it immediately to SFS or dial 911. Vehicles will be driven only on established roadways, such as all hardtop and dirt roads. All parking will be off to the side of roadways so as not to obstruct traffic. Drivers will choose their locations so that no vegetation will touch the exhaust system of their vehicles. Every person fishing, hunting, scouting, and trapping on JBMDL will sign in and out via iSportsman on a daily basis. Driving deer on JBMDL is not permitted at any time. Tree cutting, trimming, and pruning. Trees may be trimmed and pruned to ensure clear shooting lanes from stands and blinds. No trees or branches greater than 2 inches in diameter shall be cut down to improve shooting lanes. Hunters are responsible to ensure stands and blinds are placed to minimize the disturbance to surrounding areas. User areas and access. There will no longer be physical check-in and check-out stations. All check-in and check-out will be completed on iSportsman. All users must complete the appropriate safety briefs prior to hunting on JBMDL. Cantonment area. Authorized users. Active duty military assigned to JBMDL and their dependents. Federal DoD employees assigned to JBMDL and their dependents in possession of a CAC and with installation access. Cantonment area fishing. Anyone with access to the CA of JBMDL may fish the waters of Dogwood Lake, Duck Pond, Hips Folly, and Willow Pond. Laurel Pond is open only to children under the age of 16 and properly licensed disabled anglers. Cantonment area hunting. The CA hunting section consists of those natural resource management areas managed by the Natural Resources section of the 787th Civil Engineer Squadron. Long bows, compound, and crossbows are allowed. Tree stands are the only authorized means of hunting in the CA, hung at or above 8 feet off the ground. No firearms are permitted. Portable tree stands in Area 1D may remain in place until the last day of winter bow season. 3 stands per person per section is maximum. Outdoor recreation is not responsible for lost or stolen stands. Having a tree stand in place does not reserve that spot for you. Cantonment area hunting. Outdoor recreation building 6045 for area requirements and registration. Authorized participants may be accompanied by a maximum of 1 guest while scouting. If the companions are not CA participants, the authorized participant will transport all companions to and from the hunting area in their permitted vehicle. Everyone scouting will possess a photo ID and their JBMDL permit. Harvested deer will not be field dressed inside the CA. Deer pit is located at range 14. Prior to and after scouting, participants will sign in and out at jbmdl.isportsman.net. Cantonment area parking. Participants will park in the designated area location. A valid vehicle pass obtained via iSportsman will be displayed on the left of the vehicle's dashboard. When hunting, fishing, and scouting, a vehicle pass is required in all areas to be displayed. Lakehurst area, authorized users. Active duty military and their dependents, National Guard, reserves, retired military, disabled veterans with installation access, DoD civilians and their dependents, and DoD contractors over 1 year, retired DoD civilians. Lakehurst area fishing. Anyone with access to the LA of JBMDL may fish the waters of Bass Lake, Clubhouse Lake, Pickerel Lake, Island Pond, Monopoquah Brook, Ridgeway Brook, and Rainbow Pond. Bass Lake. Only artificial lures may be used in Bass Lake. Possession or use of bait, live or preserved, or any substance, natural or synthetic, such as power bait, that contains a concentration of bait scent is prohibited. Clubhouse Lake. Use of live bait in Clubhouse Lake is prohibited between 15 April and 15 June. Only artificial lures may be used during this time frame. Possession or use of bait, live or preserved, or any substance, natural or synthetic, such as power bait, that contains a concentration of bait scent is prohibited from 15 April to 15 June. Lakehurst area hunting. Hunting or carrying a loaded firearm or carrying a bow or crossbow with a nocked arrow within 400 feet of a school or playground is prohibited. Within 150 feet of any building is also prohibited. No hunting zones include areas within 450 feet of the magazine, within 750 feet of the center line of the runways, within 750 feet of the test tracks, within 200 feet of towway 11 and taxiway 4. The crossing of runways, runway clear zones, test site clear zones, or test racks is strictly prohibited. Start times, LA. Small game and pheasant hunting shall commence no earlier than 0800 hours on opening day and 0700 thereafter. All hunters must sign out via iSportsman no later than 1.5 hours after sunset. Deer hunting shall commence in accordance with legal shooting hours as specified by New Jersey hunting regulations. Hunters are not exempt from the requirement of any federal or state laws governing licensing or stamps while hunting the LA. One exception, however, is given to the state pheasant stamp for hunters in the LA. A New Jersey pheasant stamp is not required in the LA, but a base hunting fee on iSportsman is required prior to hunting pheasant in the LA. Parking at LA. Parking is prohibited in the following locations: alongside taxiways, except taxiway 4, alongside runways and test tracks, Broom Road from runway 6 approach zone eastward, further than 15 feet from the tree line of the jump circle, south and north boundary roads unless completely off the roadway, all wildlife cover plots, and all roads shall be kept clear for emergency vehicles. Water bodies at LA. Pickerel Lake is closed to waterfowl hunting due to its proximity to the test runway. Bass Lake is closed to waterfowl hunting in October due to its proximity to the nature trail. Bass Lake will be open to waterfowl hunting after 8 November. No hunting is permitted within 200 feet of the nature trail surrounding Bass Lake. The nature trail will be closed 8 November through 31 January except on Sundays. Signs will be posted on the trailheads reflecting dates on which the trail is closed. Range area authorized users. All users listed in CA and LA areas. General public possessing a valid New Jersey hunting license. Range safety. United States Army Support Activity Fort Dix Range Manager is responsible for all training activities and weapons safety within the JBMDL range and training areas. The primary function of United States Army Support Activity Fort Dix is to provide training areas to the DoD Armed Forces to conduct live fire exercise and land for maneuver exercises to hone their warfighting skills. Natural resources activity of hunting is only authorized within the tactical training areas when no scheduled training is being conducted and the TAC areas have been released by the Range Safety Office to the Natural Resources Department. Range safety, off-limit areas. Off-limit areas are marked with signs. Gates are also utilized to close roads. Range safety, emergencies. When an emergency arises in the training areas, contact Range Control Fire Desk at 609-562-4600. They're open 24 hours. Emergencies involve possible legal violations, illegal hunting, medical situations, fire, automobile accidents, and anything else that's suspicious. The fire desk will dispatch the appropriate emergency service. If possible, remain on site to report any information which will assist the responders. Range safety conflicts. When you have signed into an area for hunting, should you run into any service members training, contact Range Control at 609-562-4600 to report the encounter. Do not engage in an argument, but please remove yourself from the area and allow Range Control and Natural Resources to investigate and resolve. Mistakes happen. We want to ensure hunting and training coexist peacefully. Range safety, unexploded ordnance, or UXOs. JBMDL has been training military personnel since 1917. You are likely to find an unexploded ordnance item anywhere while hunting. Utilize the 3 R's if you find a UXO. Recognize if you think you may have found an item, retreat to a safe distance, and report. the location in iSportsman, or call Range Control at 609-562-4600. Mark the location with tape so that EOD can find it. Range area fishing. Any authorized user may fish the waters of Lake in the Woods, Amphibious Lake, and Meadow Lake. All other lakes are unauthorized. Range area hunting. Proper iSportsman registration. All information inputted into the hunter's iSportsman profile must be up to date and accurate. All iSportsman users must use their cell phone number as their contact number in the iSportsman system. All vehicles that will be used on any section of the JBMDL hunting and fishing grounds must be registered in the iSportsman system. The vehicle that is being used on the day of the selected activity must be set as the primary default vehicle in the iSportsman system. Signing in and out process at RA. You must be signed in to hunt before leaving the parking area or prior to entering the hunting area. You must sign out from hunting when returning to the parking area and before leaving the hunting area. You may sign in to hunt no earlier than 1.5 hours before sunrise per NOAA. You may sign in to hunt no earlier than 1.5 hours before sunrise. You must sign out of hunting no later than 1.5 hours after sunset. It's highly recommended that all hunters take a screenshot of all sign-in and outs when using the iSportsman system. During spring turkey season, hunters must be signed in no later than 1 hour after time of last legal shot. This applies to all hunting. Scouting at RA. Pre-season scouting will start 2 weeks prior to the start of the hunting season. This applies to both deer and turkey seasons. Pre-season scouting days and times. All times are subject to change. Confirm with iSportsman. This applies to both deer and turkey seasons as well. Wednesday, 0600 to 1900. Friday, 0600 to 1900. Saturday, 0600 to 1500. And Sunday, 0600 to 1500. In-season scouting will be on Sundays only, 0600 to 1500. SMS system and cell phone use at RA. All iSportsman users must use their cell phone number as their contact number in the iSportsman system. All iSportsman users must opt in for the iSportsman SMS text message alert system. All hunters and fishermen must have their mobile phone with them while participating in activities on JBMDL hunting and fishing grounds. All iSportsman users will ensure SMS and text notifications are enabled. Emergency and safety on RA. It is the hunter's responsibility to ensure they're in the correct area that they have signed out for. Hunters must leave their hunting area if military personnel is present. Hunters must also notify Range Control Office when this occurs at 609-562-4600. The emergency contact on your account must be someone other than yourself. At close of business for the day, all tactical range areas are off limits, with no exceptions. Ordnance items such as shells, bombs, rockets, flares, or other suspicious objects found on JBMDL should not be moved or handled in any manner. The location of all such items should be marked and reported to Range Control. Open fires in hunting areas are prohibited. Anyone discovering a fire in a hunting area will also report it immediately to Range Control. Items left on JBMDL grounds, RA. The hunter's permit number must be left on and visible on all items left overnight on JBMDL hunting grounds. This includes, but is not limited to, tree stands, cameras, feeders, and ground blinds. Items left over on JBMDL hunting grounds without the proper permit number identification are subject for removal and confiscation. Additional hunter responsibilities on RA. During permit hunting seasons, all hunters are required to possess the proper state zone permits. For range area and cantonment area, deer, Zone 37, turkey, Zone 14. Additional information, RA. The right to partake in activities on JBMDL, as well as any JBMDL permit, may be revoked at any time for violation of JBMDL regulations, federal or state law, or for any reason deemed necessary or advantageous to the United States military. Avenza Maps app is available to all hunter or fishermen participating in activities on JBMDL hunting and fishing grounds. Individuals, vehicles, boats, guns, ammunition, credentials, fish game, and personal property are subject to being checked and are searched at any time by authorized federal, state, and military law enforcement personnel. Persons must provide identification, licenses, and permits as requested by the authorized law enforcement personnel. User areas and access FAQs. Who may access CA? Active duty military assigned to JBMDL and their dependents, federal DoD employees assigned to JBMDL and their dependents in possession of a CAC and with installation access. Who may access LA? Active duty military and their dependents, National Guard, reserves, retired military, disabled veterans with installation access, DoD civilians and their dependents, and DoD contractors over 1 year. Federal civilian employees assigned to JBMDL and their dependents, retired DoD civilians. Who may access RA? All users listed above and general public possessing a valid New Jersey hunting license. Permit stipulations. A New Jersey DFW state permit and JBMDL permit are required, with the exception of the New Jersey trout stamp and New Jersey pheasant stamp for eligible hunters on the LA. No refunds on JBMDL permits. Safety briefs must be completed and entered into iSportsman before permits will be issued. Any permit may be revoked or suspended due to violations of New Jersey Fish and Wildlife Law, JBMDLI 32-7064, or at the discretion of the installation commander. FAQs for permits. Is a New Jersey trout stamp required to fish on JBMDL? No. Trout are stocked with fee collections, however, limits still apply. Where can I find the dates of permit seasons? Hunting and permit season are available in the New Jersey Hunting Digest for the calendar year. What is a CID and where do I locate it? What is a CID and where do I locate it? The CID is your Conservation Identification Number located on top of your New Jersey State Hunting and Fishing License. What permits are required? The area zones are New Jersey DMZ are 37 and 53. Appropriate New Jersey permits are required. Do I have to keep trout? Yes, you are required to keep trout taken on JBMDL. All other fish are catch and release. Do I need a New Jersey pheasant permit? A New Jersey pheasant stamp is required for the RA area in addition to a free RA JBMDL stamp. LA is an extra JBMDL permit fee collected and no NJ stamp is required. Lastly, laws and law enforcement. You are required to follow check-in and check-out regulations on iSportsman. Failure to check out on time will result in a 7-day suspension, restricting your ability to hunt and fish for that 7-day period. There are additional rules and regulations listed in the JBMDLI 32-7064.